Is it really possible that your kids will listen to you without yelling? Absolutely. It's called gentle parenting, and I have the tips that you need to know before you get started. There is lots of information all over the internet on gentle or peaceful or positive parenting, as it's often referred to, but there are things you need to know before you commit, and I have it. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. My name is Becky, and I am the very proud owner and author at Write-A-Bee.com. My goal in life is to help you raise empathetic and creative kids who love to make and write and play. And if that is what you are looking for, then you are in the right place. Make sure you hit your subscribe button and turn on notifications so you won't miss a single video. Now, if you're here for gentle parenting, I have some good news. There are things that experts skip over and don't tell you, which makes it a little bit hard to jump on board. But I'm here to break it down with 5 founding principles that you need to know before you decide if gentle parenting is right for you. Peaceful parenting, in theory, is the idea that your kids would choose to behave respectfully or appropriately or kindly because of their mutual respect with you. So, because you have this level of respect, this connection, this understanding with your child, they choose to behave appropriately. And that's the goal, that's the end goal, is that your students, if you're a teacher, or your kids, if you're a parent, intrinsically want to behave, intrinsically want to do good and feel good. So, that's the dream, that's what's possible with gentle parenting. But there are steps that you have to understand in order to get there. So let's break it down step by step so that you have an understanding of what's expected of you as a parent in this model. The first thing you really have to understand is that you are your child's teacher. I know this is hard. So you move through the day teaching your child how to behave. You teach your child how to use the toilet. You teach your child how to say things. You teach your child how to get along with others and play respectfully with others. You teach your child how to handle their emotions and how to intrinsically decide or self-regulate their emotions. So you need to imagine yourself as a social, emotional teacher. You have to teach these skills to your kids. Your kids don't just have them. You don't just have them. Somebody taught you how to manage them. And that's what you need to do for your kids. So when you approach a tantrum or when you approach a behavior that you find inappropriate, you use it as a teaching time. So remember that. It's not the time for punishment. It's the time for teaching. You are a teacher to your parent. You are a teacher to your kid. You've taught them everything up until now, and you need to continue to teach. Oftentimes, when kids have an explosion or a tantrum or a misbehavior, we come in out of anger and frustration and just raise the volume. But I want you to flip and stop and think about how you can use this as a teaching time. Which brings us to our second basic principle of gentle parenting, and that is you need to regulate your emotions. So it is absolutely entirely unfair that you are upset with your toddler or your child for having a meltdown, and then you approach the situation in a meltdown. So if your child is upset or is crying or is yelling and you come in and yell at them, you're modeling the exact behavior that you're trying to stop. So go back, remember you're a teacher. You need to self-reflect, you need to be able to control your own emotions, and this is hard. So when you are approaching an issue with your child, you need to stop and check yourself. Can you approach this calmly? It's very similar to the idea of when they go low, we go high, except it's flipped. So when your toddler's emotion is high, you need to come in low. So when your toddler is yelling and shrieking and needs your immediate attention, you come in very calm and very slow. And this energy will bring your toddler down to your energy. I promise. So check yourself, check your emotion, and make sure that you are in a place where you can calmly attend to your child. All right, founding principle number 3. Your family is your most important job. Now, I understand that we give and give and give as adults all day long. We give to the laundry, we give to making dinner, we give to coworkers or family members. We constantly are giving. It doesn't matter if you're a mom, a dad, any kind of caregiver, you are constantly giving. However, your family is your most important job. If you give your best to your coworkers, if you give your best to your presentations, and you only give your family what's left at the end of the day, your priorities are backwards. So think long and hard. Your family is with you all the time through thick and thin. They are your people, they are your rock, and they deserve the best of you. So you might need to think about how you can fill your own cup, how you can reshift some priorities. You need to find a balance that feels better for you, because if you're looking at gentle parenting as a new concept, something feels wrong to you. And that could be it. It could be that your priorities are not balanced in a way that feels good to you. So, in order for gentle parenting or peaceful parenting to work, you need to have this intrinsic feeling inside you that your family is your number one priority, and you're willing to do the work in order to make your family successful or peaceful or positive or whatever you're looking for. Founding principle number 4 is that mutual respect is the name of the game. So if you are looking for a more peaceful home, a more gentle home, a more positive home, it starts with respect, and it goes all through the home. So we aren't talking down, we aren't name calling. None of those things you would ever do to your grandmother, you would never do to your children as well. You are modeling constantly what's expected and what's appropriate. And I would never call a name to my child, and I would expect that my child would never call a name to me. That, in turn, then goes to school, and my child would never call another child by a name, would never call a teacher by a name. So when you start with respect, mutual respect in your home, it translates out into the world, and now you have created a respectful, positive, and peaceful person. The last founding principle, and is sometimes the hardest for people, is that negative words hold no space here. That means words like no, don't, can't, have to leave your house. And this is crazy hard for some people. This right here is what decides if you can do gentle parenting or not. Hopefully you are nodding your head with me all the way through, thinking, yes, 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 this makes sense. I can do this. I can commit to this life. This is the one that hurts people the most and is the hardest. And I will tell you, it took me a long time. This is not something you can do overnight. This is something you have to consciously work on and practice and just become better at. But I don't think experts tell you that. So what this means, negative words hold no space here. What this means is these words make children feel bad. So when you say, Becky, don't do this, or Becky, don't do that, or Becky, no, stop, Becky, no, Becky, no, Becky, no, I start to assume Becky is bad, right? It's this thing, it's this brain game that we as humans play. When you hear your name and you hear all of these negative words associated with it on a daily basis, multiple times in a day, you start to assume that you are a bad person. And nobody ever told you you were a bad person. Nobody ever said, Becky, no, you're such a bad kid. But you start to feel bad. Your self-worth starts to drop, and the cycle starts. And the cycle of poor mental health starts. So what we want to do instead is replace those words. Or sometimes easier is to say the action you want them to do. So if you want them to stop coloring on the table, but they are allowed to color on paper, You could say, oh, Becky, color here on this paper. So instead of saying no or don't or can't, you take it right out and instead you tell them what you can do. Oh, Becky, I love you. I forgot to give you paper here. Let's wash the table and use the paper instead. And now your child is understanding that, oops, if I color on this table, I have to wash it and clean it up. But if I color on this paper, I'm free and clear and good to go. So it's all in how you present the redirection. So taking those negative words out, no, don't, can't, is really, really hard. And there are so many strategies on how to do that posted online and everywhere, and we'll get into that a little bit more. But for now, just start reflecting. How many times do you say no? How many times do you say can't or won't or don't? If you lose track in a given day, then this is probably going to be where you're wanting to put most of your effort and where you might receive the biggest bang for your buck. So positive and peaceful and gentle parenting really rely on this positivity that we create in our family. And if you're constantly saying no, don't, can't, then you are just shutting the door to positive and peaceful parenting before you've even gotten started. So think about it. Can you cut these words out of your life? I surely hope that you can. It is one of the biggest, most important founding principles of peaceful parenting, and I hope that I can help you in the future work through it. Stay tuned to the blog, ridetobe.com, for more helpful information on peaceful parenting. Also, I do plan to make a lot more videos on the idea of peaceful or gentle parenting because I know this is really becoming important to a lot of people, especially during COVID times. But please reach out, put some questions in the comment section below. What would you like to see? What would you like to get some help with? And I'll see you guys next week.